why is someone with 10,000 followers considered more experienced or they have more knowledge than someone who has 1,000 followers?
Hey, my feel good friends. Oh man, I am so excited about today's episode because I am chatting with my social map student, Shelby, who is honestly just such a sweetheart, so amazing. And she's an up and coming social media manager, which is super cool. You know that we geek out about this. In today's episode, we talk all about just social media tips and tricks, obviously, but we also get into kind of the head game, the mindset space that comes with social media management. We talk about the ins and outs of starting your own business and making it as a freelancer in the social media marketing field, and just so many things. I absolutely adore Shelby. Make sure that you give her a follow after this episode. And hey, don't forget, if you do enjoy this episode, if you find it inspiring and valuable and all the things, please share it with someone else who needs to hear it. My friends, we are a growing community of feel-gooders, and you know I appreciate you so much, and I want to just keep this ball rolling, keep this business growing. And so if you enjoy this podcast, please just share it with your friends who also like marketing down to earth podcasts. We're kind of a cool niche over here. And also make sure that you share it to your Instagram stories. Tag me at feelgoodsocial and Shelby at Shelby Lavery so we can see and spread the love right back to you, my friend. Are you ready for this? Let's dive in. Hey, friend, and welcome to the Feel Good Social Podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and I'm here to help you market your business in a genuine way that works without wasting your precious time. On this show, we chat about social media strategy and mindset tips with a focus on, you guessed it, feeling good. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some genuine conversation for the good of your biz. Does social media stress you out? If you answered with a little laugh and a yep, you are not alone, my friend. I know how confusing and time-consuming and just plain overwhelming marketing your business on social media can be. So I've created a 5-step action plan that guides you through the best steps you can take to see success on social media without the overwhelm. With our free roadmap to stress-free social media, you'll learn how to quickly and easily create strategic content and prioritize what matters, so you'll know you're doing it right without wasting your time. If you'd like to download this free guide, head to feelgoodsocial.com/stress-free-social. Simply head to feelgoodsocial.com/stress-free-social, and you will be on your way to social media success without the stress. All right, let's get into the episode. Hi, Shelby. Thank you so much for joining us, lady. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super stoked to be here.
Yes. Well, I already did introduce you a little bit in the intro, but I'd love to hear from you. Who are you? What do you do? And who do you serve?
Yeah, so my name's Shelby. I am a freelance social media manager. I've really been doing it since about last December when I graduated from CU Boulder. I got my first real client, I guess you could say, last August, and really had no idea what I was doing. I was like, I guess I'm a social media manager now, so let's go. But yeah, basically, right now I'm still in the process of building my business and what that looks like, the kind of clients I have. They're kind of all over the place right now, but basically my ideal client, I guess, who I serve is small business owners who are looking to just kind of level up their social media game and really have a place to tell their story in an effective way that reaches their ideal customer or client.
Yeah. Oh, and I love your journey, Shelby, because I feel like a lot of us experience that same thing, right? Of like, oh, you can do social media management for a business. Like they don't really have college degrees for it. And if they did or try to in the future, like honestly, social media updates so often. And so I don't even understand how they would do it. But you start out, you're trying to figure out what does this look like? how should I shape my packages, and you're serving all the people and all the things, and it really is a journey. And so I just wanted to say how much I relate to that lady.
Yeah, it's definitely been a journey because I think I took like one social media class when I was in college, and it wasn't even
Mhm.
about social media management. It was more about, I don't even remember. It was about like different groups within social media. But yeah, it's been crazy because no one really teaches you how to do it. You kind of just have to like do it yourself and find people like you who like have information and education to share with people. So
Well, hey, hair flipping over here. Um,
totally.
yeah, I know. Well, it's so funny because whenever I first kind of got thrown into social media marketing and management and all that stuff too, I actually was looking online for courses. I was like, okay, well, I better invest in some education, learn about stuff. And I signed up for like an online course through Northwestern University, and I did not finish it. Like I could not get through. It was so boring, and the information was felt so outdated to me still. And so I've done the same thing as you, investing in online courses and just sponging up all the podcasts, all the blogs, all the information. And I think that that's kind of the best way to approach learning about social media because it is always changing and there are so many opinions out there. And it's really about figuring out what works best for you, for sure.
Yeah, totally. Education is my number one thing, and that's eventually what I want to create my platform to be is just a source of education for people who want to be social media managers, small business owners who like have no idea how to even start with social media, just people who are interested in learning more about social media and how to optimize it. So education is huge for me.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I love this. Let's talk a little bit about just like your journey with social media and how you feel about it and all of those things. Have you always been kind of like on social media and active and loving it, or what's that journey look like?
So, I mean, I guess you could say I've always been on social media. Instagram, I didn't get on Instagram until I was like a freshman or sophomore in high school, I think. And I mean, Instagram for me just started out like how everyone uses the platform. They just like post their life, like whatever they want. They don't think about it. There's no strategy behind it. And I mean, I use that social media that way, honestly, all the way until like my junior year of college. And I didn't always know I was going to be a social media manager. Like I said, it kind of just like fell into my lap one day when I got my first client, but I didn't even know social media management was a job. Like I didn't
Yeah.
know that was an option until I just started doing it. So that's kind of cool. But I mean, I'm still in the midst of my journey, to be honest. I'm still trying to figure out my business. And when I was going through the social map, it really something clicked in my brain and I was like, wow, like I could make a solid business around social media management and just everything you taught us, specifically content pillars, that has helped me
Mm.
so much. Like just me with my personal business, it's helped me figure out how to like the best social strategy for my clients. It's been huge. So I'm definitely my journey's not over. It's never going to be over cuz social media is constantly evolving. So, yeah, I'm still in the middle of it.
Yeah, girl. I mean, aren't we all literally?
Yes.
Um, what I would love to just know kind of because exactly like I still consider myself a fairly new entrepreneur and whatnot. And we all kind of go through those struggles of figuring out who we want to serve and figuring out our offers and all of the mindset shit that we all have to work through. I'd love to know like what have been like a few of your bigger struggles and kind of forming this business and how have you been working through those?
Yeah, so the biggest struggle that comes to my mind immediately is imposter syndrome. That's
Hmm.
something I've had to deal with for a while, like even before I began my journey as a social media manager. I mean, we live in a world where like we're constantly comparing each other to one another, and that's like one of the downfalls of social media, I think, is the constant comparison to people, but that's where your mindset has to come in too.
Yeah.
um but imposter syndrome has been huge. I still deal with it. Sometimes I wake up one day and I'm like, can I really do this? Like, am I going to be successful? Am I going to fail? But in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, the worst thing that can happen is I do fail. But then what can I learn from that failure? And how can I be better next time? And how can I stand back up stronger the next time? So it's a constantly evolving journey with imposter syndrome, but I've gotten better with my mindset. So that's a plus.
Oh, lady, I'm like over here, like sending all the air hugs through the screen right now because I have been there. I've been there, 2 years ago, a year ago, last week. Like, I do think it's something that imposter syndrome. I've heard from top entrepreneurs who have been in the game for 20 or more years saying, that's something that's not really going to go away. So exactly, it's like kind of just becoming aware of, oh, these feelings could creep up, and being aware of, okay, when are they creeping up? How do I deal with this? And it's a practice, being gentle with yourself and telling yourself, okay, I got this. I got this.
Yes. And I think if 2020 has taught us anything, it's that we all need to be kinder to ourselves because at the end of the day, like we can't control everything that happens to us. Like we can't control if we get COVID. We can't control if we lose our jobs. We can't control a lot
Mhm.
of things, but we can control how we react to those situations. And that's something I always try to keep in the back of my mind is like, okay, I can't control what happens to me, but I can control how I react to it.
Yes, yes. Such a big lesson when it comes to working on your mindset and all of those things, especially in this year. You're so right. There's so many curveballs. I know. And I kind of almost feel like 2020 has been like, it's been so, so difficult for so many of us and just so overwhelming. But also, like, I feel us all almost like getting collectively stronger and being able to deal with the things all the time. It's been hard, but like, you're not going to get stronger unless you have to work through it. You have to work through the hard stuff.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons someone can learn as an entrepreneur is how to work through that hard stuff. Because if you never have to deal with struggles, if you never fail at anything, you're never going to grow because you
Mm.
don't know your potential until you fail at something or something doesn't go exactly how you planned it, but it turned out better.
Yeah, and that I'm so glad that you brought that up too, like realizing, okay, I'm just going to take action. I'm going to keep moving forward. Like I think it's in the right direction, but it might not be. We will see. And if it's not, then hey, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm going to learn from it. That is so huge in entrepreneurship, and honestly, like there's a reason that all of the biggest entrepreneurs out there have big failures. It's because failure is inevitable, right? And like if it happens and then you keep going and you keep moving and you keep progressing, then that's how you become successful, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one of my clients is currently dealing with like a legal struggle in terms of their logo and their brand name and everything. But I was talking to them the other day and they're like, we're going to make it through this and it's going to be an amazing part of our brand story because people are going to
Mhm.
read that and be like, wow, like they overcame so much and it's just going to make your brand stronger. It's going to make you stronger as an entrepreneur. And now you have all these stories to share with your audience and your community. And they're like, maybe someone out there will be like, wow, like I may be dealing with some shit right now, but like if they can do it, maybe I can do it too.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Makes me so happy that you just said that. Brand stories, figuring it out, telling the struggle that we go through. It's so, so relatable. It makes people, develop an affinity for you, up that know, like, and trust factor. All the things, all the things. I love it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about social media and geek out about this. I'd love to know kind of where you have seen a lot of success on social media, either for your own, account, which I know you kind of have recently started posting more social media, or for your clients.
Yeah. So the hugest thing that I've found that really drives success on social media is engagement and really honing in on how to best connect with your specific community, whether
Mhm.
that be on your personal page or one of my clients' pages. I really just try to engage in a way with my community that they're going to be receptive to. So that's liking pictures, commenting on pictures, sending DMs, all the things, and just really engage with them and really make them feel like they're special. Because if you just like put a string of emojis like you mentioned in the social map, like anyone can do that. So like you're still commenting on their picture, but like if someone comments just like a long string of emojis on my picture, I'm not going to be as enticed to respond to that. But if someone's like, "Oh, I really related to this, like this is what's happening in my life that made me think of this," then like I'm going to want to respond to that because it's a two-way street. Social media is always a two-way street. You're not just if you just post a picture and you're just sitting there and be like, okay, my community's just going to come to me without me trying to engage with them,
Mhm.
it's not going to happen. You need to be engaging all the time. And I hate it as much as everyone else. I hate just scrolling through my phone and getting locked in this spiral. And like 20 minutes later, I'm watching like cat videos. I'm like, okay, how did I get here? Like I came on here to intentionally engage, but I mean, it happens, but you just have to
Mhm.
be really specific about why you're going on the platform, why you're engaging with your audience.
Yes, I love everything that you were saying. Social media is a two-way street. And exactly, it's like kind of trying to measure the value of the engagement that you're giving from both the algorithm side and the just like human side of it, like really driving that deeper, real connection, not just making people feel like you're trolling their account for a follow back or, just trying to leave comments in the fastest way possible. I truly believe taking that extra 10 seconds to leave a valuable, genuine comment using someone's first name so that they feel like they're talking to you and all of those things, like it's worth so much more than leaving that string of emojis. I love that you brought up because I roll my eyes every time I get one of those like kind of troll DMs. It's like emojis or like the collab question mark ones.
I've been getting so many of those recently, and I just like throw like a fried shrimp emoji at them because it, like one of the things you taught me in the social map was to not delete those comments because every comment is still an engagement. So it ups your engagement on that post, ups your reach. But because I used to just delete those comments because I was like, I don't want to deal with them. But now I just like throw a random emoji at them. I'm like, whatever, you're a bot anyway, so I'm just gonna throw a fried shrimp emoji at you because I can.
Right, Chip. I love it. I know one of my favorite things to do is like to like respond kind of sarcastically, and like the collab question mark. It's like, oh my gosh, thank you. I know I'm so beautiful, or something like that. And I'm like, I wonder if people realize I'm joking, but like either people realize I'm joking or they're like, oh wow, Kinsey's really friendly.
Yeah, so it's benefits you either way.
Way. I love it. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about, I guess, do you ever feel, I know that a lot of people struggle with this, and maybe it's just me as well, being like a little bit shy on the inside for real, but do you ever kind of like get nervous to engage with other people or shoot them a DM or anything like that?
Of course, I get nervous. I mean, at the end of the day, like we're all human beings, and I'm a huge believer in connection with other people. And that's why, again, this year has been so hard because we're losing that so much connection with the people that we're so used to being able to see, being able to hug, being able to just like go get a cup of coffee together. But
Right.
that's why I think social media is so great because it provides that bridge for people and you can connect with people over social media and you can meet new people over social media, even if it's just like internet friends. But internet friends can turn into lifelong friendships.
Yeah.
But I mean, of course, I get nervous when I'm like commenting on I don't know, Stephanie Gilbert's posts or like these huge, not huge, but like these people that I see as, wow, I really want to be where they're at one day. And they
Mhm.
have thousands of followers. They have so much engagement on their posts. Like they've really built a community that is there for them. So it's like, okay, if I comment on this post, they're not going to see it. They're not going to engage with it because here I am just like with 800 something followers. Like I don't matter. But in the back of my head, it's just like, oh, they're there for people like me. They want people like me to engage with them. So I mean, the worst thing that can happen is if I comment on someone's post or if I send them a DM, they won't respond. That's the worst
Yeah.
thing that can happen. And then I'm just like, okay, that's fine. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they don't have time to respond to me. But if they don't have time to respond to me, maybe they're not my people. So,
Yeah, yes, for sure. I love that you brought that up too. What's the worst that can happen? Like, that is so much a part of my social media journey myself. And that's what I teach is like reality checking yourself. I think a lot of us have this kind of anxiety over things that like just build up in our brains or in our bodies or in our hearts, and we're nervous to leave a comment on someone's Instagram post. But exactly, it's giving yourself that reality check and just saying, what is the worst that can happen? Like the best thing that can happen is that you brighten someone's day and you make a connection that's amazing. The worst thing that can happen is, well, the worst thing that can happen is them maybe like throwing a virtual pie at your face through the screen, but that won't happen.
yeah.
Oh my God. And also, oh, did you know that Stephanie Gilbert was my first business coach that I ever
Really?
hired?
That's
Yeah.
cool. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That's awesome.
I actually wanted to talk to you because Steph has an awesome course for social media managers for like building out your systems and building an agency. And I took her course, then I became like her mentor person. She was my mentor.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was super awesome. She's wonderful. I love her. And it was one of those weird situations though where I invested in her course and I set up my systems and I was going to create this agency. And then I kind of had this shift where I realized, you know what, like I don't necessarily want to create a social media management agency in that same way that Steph has created. And so it was one of those learning experiences for me where I was like, oh, okay, I did this and I did everything right and it's great, but I need to shift.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think dealing with shifts is something, I mean, especially this year, a lot of people have had to shift their business models. I know my clients have definitely had to shift their business models. And I mean, that's just one thing we're all going to have to deal with, but that you live and you learn. So, like the fact that you took that course and you probably gained a lot of knowledge from it, and you still use a lot of that in your business today, but you did realize, like, oh, I don't want to do exactly what she's telling me to do. I want to put my own spin on it. And I think that's what makes each of us unique is because like I took your course and I'm like, okay, like I really like this part. I want to do this part differently to more suit my business and my ideal clients. And I just think that's so cool that social media can create a space where we meet all these awesome entrepreneurs that we can learn from, and we're just building our community more and more.
Yeah, yeah. And exactly. I love what you said about that as well. Like we all have our own spin on it. And I think you and I align with that when it comes to branding and creating your business and all those things. And that's why it is really easy to collaborate with other social media managers and stuff like that. Like I have people who I love, but I would never want to work with them kind of thing because they're not my industry. They're not my people. I don't offer exactly what they need, right? And so I could send them your way or someone else's way, like depending on just what type of person they are. And that's just such an easy way to collaborate for like our community. I think any industry, but like the social media management community too.
Yeah, totally. Before I really started doing like a deep dive into what I wanted my business to be and everything, I saw other social media managers as competition rather than people I can gain knowledge from. Because before I even took your course, I saw all these social media managers on Instagram and I was like, "Oh, I have to be better than them. Like, what are they
Mhm.
doing wrong? Like, what can I do better? How can I be better
Yeah.
than them? And it's like, I realize that mindset is not good, because that, coming back to that competition thing where we keep comparing ourselves to other people. And instead of thinking of other social media managers as my competition, I think, how can I learn from them? What are they doing in their business that I could maybe incorporate into my business? Or what are they doing that I think isn't working? And how can I change it for my business? Like, it might work for them, but like, how could I put my own spin on it and make it work for me? So it's just really building that community of like-minded people, people in your industry, for us, other social media managers, and how can we learn from each other rather than see each other as competition?
Yeah. Oh, that just makes my heart so happy. I love it. I love it because exactly. And I think that, I don't know, tell me what you think about this because I think that it all comes down to like we see each other as competition, but really, how many clients can you handle? How many clients can I handle? Like, there is enough fish in the sea for everyone. Like, we don't need, and I think that maybe I keep comparing it to like the social media management industry because we do have this focus on vanity metrics in our industry, especially, right? Like how many, I don't know if you've had to deal with this with clients, but almost every client I've ever had has come to me like, okay, like how can I grow my following? Like I want to grow my following. How can I get that big number of followers? And I'm like, it doesn't really like matter that much. You know what I mean? Do you have clients do that to you too?
Yeah, I mean, I always like set goals for myself for like different follower metrics. Like, okay, I want to reach 400 followers by the end of the month. And it's like good to have those goals, but if you're not actively trying to gain a following of your ideal clients or your ideal customers, it doesn't really matter. Because, like,
Yeah.
if I have 1,000 followers who are there for me and they're engaged and they want to be there for my content because they like it or they feel like they have something to learn from me, that's so much better than having 10,000 followers where like half of them are bots and then your engagement rate just goes way down and that doesn't
Mhm.
help you. So,
Yeah.
one thing I learned from your social map was at the end of the course where you asked us to go and delete followers. I was like, what? Delete followers? Like, you're crazy, Kinsey. But
Yeah.
I mean, once I did it, it felt so good because like I started, now I even see people who are new followers who are real people and they're there for me. They're small business owners, they're other social media managers or similar people in those industries. And yeah, no one wants bots for followers anyway, because who wants those stupid comments on their posts in the first place? No one.
No one. And exactly, I'm so glad you brought that up. I was going to ask you about it because exactly, it's like the way the algorithm works is pushing out your post to a certain percentage of your followers, seeing how much engagement that post gets, because that's how it measures the value and the popularity of your post. And then if you're getting engagement, it'll show more followers. So if it's pushing it out to accounts that aren't real people, then ain't nobody going to see your post, you know?
Exactly, exactly. That's why I I love and hate vanity metrics at the same time because, well, I actually really just hate them if I really think about it, because it's like, why is someone with 10,000 followers considered more experienced or they have more knowledge than someone who has 1,000 followers?
Mhm.
That's always puzzled me because it's like, just because they have a larger social following doesn't necessarily mean they're any better at their job, they're any better at engaging with their audience. Because I mean, you just want an engaged audience. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. And like, we were talking about, well, firstly, Steph Gilbert I don't know if you saw that post the other day where she put out asking a social media manager why they don't have 1 million followers is like asking someone who works at a bank why they don't have $1 million. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
But also, like you were saying, commenting on someone like Steph's post who has like a ton of followers, she probably gets DMs, tons of DMs every day, or someone bigger, Jasmine Star, or whoever. Like, they probably can't get to all their comments, right? They probably can't get to all their DMs because it's overwhelming. And so for someone like me who's hoping to hire soon, but still a one woman show, you know what I mean? One woman show. Like I am almost grateful to have that smaller following because that does mean I can get to my people. That does mean I'll see those DMs that do count, like from those small business owners reaching out to me saying, "Hey, I need some help," you know.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I mean, obviously, I'm still trying to grow my following just a bit because most of my following right now is friends and family because my page did start off as a personal page. So I'm trying to grow my following, but in a way that people come to my page for social media content. They want to learn about social media or they want to learn about just engagement or how to create a community, how to build a community online. So, yeah, building your following is good, but you have to have strategy behind it. You
Yeah.
can't just like go in blind and be like, okay, I want 10,000 followers. Don't care who they are. You're not going to be successful if you have a following of people who don't really care about your content or they're bots, so they're not even real.
Mhm.
You want people there for you. And I love that you said that you're grateful for your smaller following because you are able to get to all those messages. You are able to engage with your community because like these larger people who have larger followings, they aren't able to do that because there's just so many comments and so many messages. And I'm sure Stephanie Gilbert wants to respond to all those messages, but like she just doesn't have the bandwidth to do so.
Mhm. Right, exactly. That's so true. But and yet we have to address it still felt kind of hard to delete the followers, didn't it?
It did. Yeah. I was like, when I was going through it, I was like, I know this is good for me, but it just
Mhm.
made me a little bit sad inside when I saw my follower count go down because I lost like over 100 followers. And it was like kind of
Uh-huh.
mind blowing. I was like, wow, I didn't realize that many people were like fake accounts or just like inactive accounts, super old accounts that haven't been updated since like 2014, which was the year I
Yeah.
graduated from high school. So like that's a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean it was sad, but like at the end of the day, I was like, okay, now I have a following that I know is there for me. They're real people, which is the number one thing you want from a follower is that they're real.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I know. Yeah. I just had to say, I mean, I still feel the cringe too when I like delete a follower. Cause yeah, I mean, going into your followers, it's amazing how easy it is to delete 100 people. And that's us with like even small followings. Can you imagine people with big, giant followings? And so it still feels cringy on the inside, but it's okay. And ultimately, it's for the best. Just remind yourself, guys. Just remind yourself.
Yes, it's for the best. You'll feel so
Okay.
much better later.
Yes. Okay. What are some of your favorite tips for content creation? Let's chat about content creation a little bit.
Content creation is my bread and butter of social media management. It's really, I mean, it's really at the core of why I'm a social media manager, as I'm sure it is with many other social media managers, is because your job is to create content for your ideal audience. If I'm not feeling inspired, it's really hard for me to create content. And I've dealt with
Yeah.
that a lot, especially this year. It's just the lack of creativity, the lack of motivation, the lack of inspiration. And it's like at some points I felt bad about creating content that was not insensitive to what's happening in the world, just like not focusing on it. But I
Mhm.
realized that like a lot of people want that distraction and they want that relief from like, ugh, I don't want to wake up every day and read how many new cases there are in my county, or I don't want to be bombarded with news every single day about it. So people
Mhm.
turn to social media and they're like, I want to come on here and just get a little bit of happiness. So that's what I've kept in the back of my mind for myself, for my clients. I'm like, okay, how can I create some happiness through this content and put it out to the world so they feel better for 1 second while they're reading the post, or sliding through the stories, or whatever it is that they need that day. I I guess my only tip would for content creation would be to just go with your inspiration, go with your creativity, because you can always go back and edit it, and nothing has to be perfect. I
Mhm.
that's something I've had to deal with a lot, is this idea of perfection, because nothing is perfect. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. And I
Mhm.
especially had to deal with that a lot in college, because they train you to be quote unquote perfect, but that doesn't really exist. Um, so nothing has to be perfect. And if you spend hours and hours and hours on one piece of content trying to make it perfect, I don't want to say like you're wasting your time, but like you're kind of wasting your time a little bit. Cause like no one is gonna really like look at a post and realize how much time and effort someone put into it. So no one's gonna know if you spent 15 minutes creating a piece of content or 2 hours. No one's
Yeah,
gonna know but you. So like you might as well just post the dang photo, post the dang caption, and just do it, because it's not gonna be perfect, and like perfection's a myth.
perfection is a myth. Girl, I'm cheesing hard over here. Prayers hand and prayers hand emoji over here. Because it's so true. It is so true. Nothing is perfect. And we put so much pressure on ourselves. This is another reality check. I think we talked about in the social map as well, where it's like walking that fine line between you want to put your heart into your content, you want to feel joyful, you want to make it as strategic as possible, but at the same time, it's just an Instagram post and how many people are really going to see it, you know what I mean? And so finding that fine like line between yeah, like you want to work hard at this and you want to make it strategic and you want to be personal, and is it okay if it takes you a couple hours? Sure, but we can't make that a habit.
Right,
And also, like,
exactly.
reality checking yourself for sure.
Yeah, perfection is, I mean, it's unachievable, really. And that's, I mean, like I said before, it's something that I've had to deal with forever. And I still deal with it because it's like no one is really going to know what your goal is unless it's just you. You're the only one that knows like what you want your end result to be. And
Mhm,
like no one, at the end of the day, it's just social media and it really doesn't matter that much. Like, yes,
mhm.
I pour my livelihood into creating the perfect content. Everything's not perfect. I I just
Perfect with
backtracked
air
on
quotes.
myself.
No, you're good, girl.
You okay, what was I saying?
Creating like, you want to, like, create amazing content, but it's never gonna be perfect. Have we talked about this before where, it's so funny, like, that I'm like a word nerd and I love writing captions. And that's where I struggle with like the perfectionism is like tweaking here, tweaking there. I'll spend a lot of time on my captions because I just feel like it's personal and it's one of those things I'm like almost proud of in a way. But I'll still like get through like poring over a post, rereading again and again, reading it out loud, then walking away, coming back and reading it, posting it. And it's like, how the frick did I miss a the there? Or how did I misspell that word that I looked at like 15 times, But I actually think that there's something to be said about going in. Oh, I was talking about this. I did for Holly Mandrich, the girl who came in and did the photo workshop or whatever for the social map. I did a workshop for her course and I was talking with them about they were asking if you should go in and edit your captions because there's this myth going around. There's all these myths around the algorithm, right? There's a myth going around that if you edit your captions, then the algorithm will like not boost your post or something dumb like that. I don't think there's a lot of truth to it personally, but they're asking if you should edit it or if you shouldn't. And I kind of told them if it's something that it's a big deal, then yes, edit it. But if it's a misspelled word or something like that, I was listening to a podcast a while ago where it was about bot, like creating like the bot chats for Facebook and like marketing that way, right? The automated bot chats or whatever. And the dude who was writing the script for the bot chat was like, I intentionally misspelled words in order to make it more human, right? There's something to be said about embracing your imperfections because it's more relatable, it's more trustworthy in a way, and it just really like it helps to not be put on a pedestal as like the person that you're showing up on social media and become more of that trusted best friend who's like right beside you, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I think people forget oftentimes that there's a human behind each social media account, unless it's a bot, of course.
Unless it's not.
Unless it's not. But I
Yeah.
mean, for most accounts out there, there's a human being behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, most people take 5 seconds to look at your post and then scroll past it. So they don't even have time to look for all the misspellings or, oh, she missed a period here. She's not a
Mm-hmm.
good content creator. I'm going to unfollow her. Like, no one thinks that. Like,
Yeah.
people forget that we're all human beings. We make mistakes. And at the end of the day, even though I fully believe that social media and content creation is a labor of love because it really is, it's just social media. It doesn't matter that much.
I love how we're like two social media managers right now, and we're like, social media doesn't matter, you guys. I totally believe you. I totally agree with you. Exactly. Like just keep reminding yourself of that, you know, and like that's why we both approach social media with, okay, like how can we approach this in the way that is going to be the most effective and like the least time consuming, right? And
Mm.
how can we approach this in a way that's going to make us feel good and like drive real connection with real people so you can make real sales versus growing a following of robots who aren't going to buy from you, who are going to take away from those real people who are following you and all that stuff.
Exactly. And that's why you have to keep your end goal in mind because if you're a small business, like, is your goal really to gain 10,000 followers or is it to reach your ideal customer and get a sale? Like, you have to think about
Mhm.
that because a lot of small businesses are on social media so they can promote their business, so they can get new customers. And especially with this pandemic, a lot of business owners are relying on social media for sales. Like, one of my
Mhm.
clients is only on e-commerce. So the
Yeah.
only way we get sales is through marketing online, social media, Facebook ads. A lot of businesses are just relying on social media, which is why it's so important. But at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yes. Hallelujah. We need a coffee mug that says that.
Yes.
Um, all right, my lady. You know, I could talk to you forever, but as my social map student, what maybe you already touched on this a little bit, but what was like your biggest takeaway from the course?
My biggest takeaway was really just content pillars, I think, because
Mhm.
that really changed the game for me because I've definitely sat in front of my computer before and been like, what the fuck do I post? You know? Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
What the heck do I post today? Either on my page or my client's page or whatever. It's just like, okay, what do I post? Because I'm all fresh out of ideas. But having those content pillars laid out for me is like, okay, I can talk about this theme or this theme or this theme or this theme.
Mhm.
And every post is still different, but it still has that overarching theme that it relates to and that it relates to your business. So
Mhm.
content pillars were really, really huge for me. And just little thing, every lesson was just like really helped me ground myself as a social media manager and really gave me the confidence to be like, okay, like, yeah, I can do this. Like, I can be successful at it. Like, it's going to take work and it's going to take a lot of effort, but I can do it because I have all this knowledge and education backing me up.
Oh, that just makes me feel so just happy. I'm overflowing. I'm trying not to scream in your ear right now. I told you I can get excited on this podcast. But thank you so much for coming on here, Shelby. Thank you so much for coming on here, girl. I loved having you as my student. You were just so bubbly and engaging and awesome. And I just know that you're going to like go on to do such big things. I'm so excited to see where you go with this.
Oh, thanks, Kinsey. Thanks for having me on. It was so much fun.
How awesome was Shelby, you guys? I just adore that wonderful lady. I hope that you give her a follow. And also, please remember, share this episode with someone else who would enjoy it, who needs to hear it. I would absolutely love for you to spread the word about this awesome podcast if you think it's as awesome as I do. I am a little biased, let's be honest. And share it to your Instagram stories. Tag me and Shelby at Feelgood Social, at Shelby Lavery, so we can see, reshare it, and spread the love right back to you. I hope that you have a wonderful week, my feel good friends, and I will catch you next Tuesday. Thanks so much for listening, my friend. For show notes and a whole lot of other awesome freebies, visit feelgoodsocial.com. Simply go to feelgoodsocial.com for all the goods.